Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Thursday. This is Game Day Live from the Primetime Radio virtual studios as I get into my NPR voice. I've lost my voice today, but that's okay. It's a Happy Devils Thursday as the Devils are playing the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie, Parise, Pucks and Pitchforks blog, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. Vinnie, the Devils are on a one-game winning streak. Let's not get overconfident. Let's not evaluate that last game. They beat a bad team. They did what they were supposed to do. But the real test tonight is the St. Louis Blues out in the West, in the Western Conference. Tell me what you're thinking right now, because what are you looking for in this game to build on?
Well, first of all, before we get into it, I do have to say you're a complete trooper. Few people in the world would lose their voice and still come on and do Devils Game Day Live as well as you do. And you gave a less enthusiastic than typical Happy Devils Thursday, but, you're not going to be out here yelling when you don't have your voice, so I completely commend you for doing that. You're doing a great job. As far as the Devils go, it's been a while since we started a pregame show and did it following a win. A big win, nonetheless. 7-1 over the Montreal Canadiens. And, yeah, the Habs are a really bad team. But like I said on the last pregame show, I saw the Habs in person. They played hard, and they have some forwards up front that are pretty good, and they have players. I mean, every team in the NHL is still an NHL team. So the fact that the Devils dismantled them the way that they did, it was nice to see. I mean, Heishier's got goals in back-to-back games. Jesper Boquist has been amazing since being reinserted into the lineup. Nice to see McLeod re-enter the lineup and make himself noticeable, because he probably, while he was out, he got hurt during a fight. He probably saw Jesper Boquist come into the lineup and go, oh, I'm going to lose my job if I don't rejoin the lineup and step right back in. And it was fortunate for him that Hughes was missing the games because of some COVID. And he's going to be out tonight. I assume he'll be back Sunday. I don't know his prognostications on his symptoms or anything like that, but it's a tough test tonight. The St. Louis Blues are and have been one of the best teams in the National Hockey League for about a decade now. They have some really good players. Even when guys like Alex Pietrangelo leave town, they replace them with someone like Torrey Krug, who was outstanding with the Boston Bruins back in the day. So the Blues are a really good team. It'll take something we like to talk about a lot. We like to talk about the no fun zone on this show. That's what you need to do to beat the Blues. You got to get big bodies in front of the net. You got to tip pucks. You got to be hard on the puck. If they play soft, like, they kind of did against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Ray Ferraro pointed it out on their Sportsnet broadcast, or TSN, whatever it was. The Devils, they play soft sometimes. If you play soft against the St. Louis Blues, you're going to be on the losing end of one of those 7-1 type of games. So learn from what you did against Montreal. I know it's a much better team that they're playing against, but it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to a game like that. Last time they came out and dominated a team, they came out the next game and looked a little slower. I know it was the second half of a back-to-back. Of course, I'm referring to when they lost to the Los Angeles Kings after destroying the Carolina Hurricanes. And that reminds me, right before the game against the Montreal Canadiens, the Devils kind of got smoked by the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
The Ottawa Senators the next night came out and destroyed the Carolina Hurricanes themselves. So, yeah, does it stink watching the Devils get blown out by a team like Ottawa? Yes. But that team was playing well right now, and they went out and beat one of the best teams in the league without two of their best players, Batherson. So, it's going to be weird to make that comparison, but the Devils have some things going for them. It's been a hard year. They've really fallen off since mid-December. But I liked what I saw against Montreal. But like you said, it's not the end-all, be-all. They have a lot of work to do to build on that.
Yeah, and, you want to talk about the NFC. Today, Team USA played Team China in the Olympics. In ice hockey. in the Olympics, and I think Team China surprised a lot of people in the first period. What were they doing? They were playing physical, they were challenging, and they were playing the no fun zone. And they did actually surprisingly well in the first period and only holding Team USA to a 1-0 lead. I mean, I'm sorry, Team USA had a 1-0 lead. And a lot of us thought, well, they're going to get blown out early, but they gave a pretty good run for their money. Yes, there are a lot of American and Canadians born on Team China, but I can tell you this, that when you play a team concept, and this is all the stuff we were talking about, the fundamentals. Obviously, there was a big talent difference between the two teams. But if you play a system and you play it efficiently and you play it well, and it doesn't matter what system it is, as long as the players believe in it, you can play against top tier teams. The Devils have a lot of skilled players, but Lindy Ruff alluded to this about a couple days ago, that they need to play within their system. And I even said on the podcast, well, what system is that? Because I don't see anything that resembles a system. But then they beat the Montreal Canadiens 7-1. They beat a team that they had to beat. They didn't let up. That's a good sign, but not enough to evaluate what's really going on. At least they didn't get blown out by the Canadiens. At least they didn't get a close call with the Canadiens. No, they just really beat them down 7-1 submission. And now it's like, okay, can they take that little confidence and actually put up something like that against the St. Louis Blues? We will find out tonight. I mean, again, you can't judge the Devils on one game in Montreal, because the game before against Ottawa, Matt Murray played out of his mind and the Devils lost 4-1.
Yeah, I really liked what you said about Team USA's game against Team China. It ended up being a pretty big win for Team USA, but you nailed it. Team China came out firing. They were committed to a system. I'm actually going to have a piece on that showing up on my Twitter account about 20 to 30 minutes after the show is over. So everybody look out for that. But it's because the Blackhawks top prospect Drew Comesso got the shutout in the game. But Team China, they were committed. And like you said, that's something that...
Did you see them offensively? Forget about the NFC. They were going hard to the net. And if it wasn't for Team USA's goaltending, that could have been a 1-0 China lead. And that's it. That's a momentum changer, a game changer. But they held their own. But they came close to getting the 1-0 lead, Team China.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I almost call them Team Devils. The Devils can learn from by, watching some of these guys. Like you said, of course, the countries that you don't necessarily see as hockey countries, they have players from the United States and Canada that have roots back to whatever country it is we're talking about, in this case, China. But that's how you help develop those countries and grow the game and teach them how to play the right way. I saw a tweet earlier today that kind of reminds me of this conversation. It was a tweet from the NHL about how the Montreal Canadiens, right after the Devils beat them, hired Martin St. Louis to be their new head coach. And John Buccigross from ESPN quote tweeted it and said, "They will immediately be better, in my opinion. Players will run through a wall for Martin St. Louis. That doesn't help talent level, of course, but hockey's a blood sport. Emotion and full engagement is absolute. When there is none, like Philly and Montreal, nothing happens." He didn't name New Jersey because he could probably see that the Devils, at least they really work hard a lot. I think they're soft at times, but you got guys like Nico and Jack and Brett who give it their all every single game, no matter what. And that's something to learn from if you're any team in the league, but especially the Devils. If you are committed to a system and believe in what you're doing as a team, there are a lot of great things you can achieve. And we saw that against the Montreal Canadiens on Tuesday. So hopefully they're able to do that. I don't know how much longer, Lindy Ruff will be the head coach of this team. It might be the rest of the season. It might be 3 more games. It might be whatever it is. 6 teams in the NHL now have fired their coach, now that Edmonton did earlier today. It's something to think about. Effort is everything. System is everything. Yeah, you need talent. The Devils are still working on adding talent, but having something to play for is very, very important.
Yeah, and again, hockey is a very it's a game of momentum, whether it can snowball out of control. So, I'll tell you what, it's what I saw in Team China in the first half of the game is what the Devils should be doing. The positioning was dead on. And what I was even surprised about was they were pushing back. I mean, there was pushing and shoving in the Olympics. In the Olympics, they were pushing and shoving back. And again, but as what happens is once you get a 2-0 lead, 3-0 lead, psychologically it becomes an uphill battle. Then you start to take unnecessary risks. Anytime you're down by 1 goal, 2 goal, 3 goals, it changes the entire mindset of the game. And then you start taking risks, and that's where turnovers happen. That's why you have to play a system with conviction and discipline. And I think maybe that's why Jack Hughes had been turning over the puck quite a bit before, All-Star break, is because he's trying to make trying to make something out of nothing, trying to carry the team on his shoulder, trying to do too much. And sometimes that just is counterproductive and it backfires. So, if the Devils are going to beat St. Louis tonight, what they need to do is they need to get back to basics, the fundamentals. And I only pointed out Team China is because, hey, even a team that does not have that much talent compared to Team USA can hang with them and force and make Team USA beat them. And if you play the good fundamentals, you have a chance to win on any given night if the other team is sleeping. Now, the New Jersey Devils tonight, what they need to do is, okay, you got to play the posts very well, your defense, not get out of position. If one player does get out of position, you must have the other player slide in between his position and the other players just to compensate, but don't overcompensate. Oftentimes, I would see PK Subban out of position behind the net, and Ryan Graves would follow or his partner would follow, and suddenly the slot area is wide open in front of the goaltender. That's got to stop. That you have to be disciplined and not be out of position and not take the bait, per se. Because if the guy's behind the net, you want that. Why? Because the shooting percentage behind the net, behind the goal line, is almost nil versus the guy in the high danger area, in the slot area, wide open. That goes up to 20 to 40 to 50% chance of actually scoring.
Yeah, you nailed it. I think playing a certain style and allowing your guys to be in the right position is so important in the NHL. And the talent disparity between Team USA and China is probably greater than the talent disparity between the St. Louis Blues and the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
So you would think that if the Devils kind of take that mentality of the Chinese team and run with it in their own way with their players, they would give themselves a much better chance. Absolutely.
If you ever watch 1980, the Miracle Team, how they beat the Soviets, one thing that's really apparent, number one, they had to get the team in top physical shape so they can actually skate with the Soviets. Back 40 years ago, the game was so different than it is today. Right now, it's a hybrid of North American and old European style of play. You have to have skill and speed nowadays. You can't have, just skill and speed and then the muckers, the beef. Now the beef actually can skate and hit and be very skilled, like Dougie Hamilton. You know, it used to be the big guys were just the big guys, and that's what they did. No, you actually have to skate, and you actually have to have some sense of hockey sense and skill. And the fighting is out now, but you still have to be tough. You still have to lay the body, the hit, be physical. When you're physical, then you take your opponent, the puck off their skates. You could be equally as effective and neutralize them defensively. But if you look at that 1980 team, one of the things that they did was they were aggressive and they were consistent. Keep on putting the pressure in waves, so to speak. They could roll 4 lines. Each line had its responsibility, so to speak. If you know what I'm trying to say, because way back when, how hockey was played, it's hard for me to explain it, but it's anyway. I'll just shut up right now.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where the top 2 lines were scoring lines. The third line would be like hard checking and maybe chipping a goal every now and then. And then the fourth line would be hit me wrong and I'll fight you. And other than that,
the psychology was so different back then.
Yeah.
And back then there was an unwritten code. I'm not talking about Olympic hockey. I'm just talking. There was a code. It was almost like a gentleman's agreement, right? You don't hit our best player. Whatever. And then there was a period of time in the new NHL after that year-long lockout that players were taking liberties on players, but because they were trying to eliminate fighting, then there was the instigator rule and all that stuff. Now it's like such a good hybrid of both worlds. I mean, of course, I would like to see some more fighting, but that's just for an entertainment value. But for the betterment of the game, it's probably as good as you're going to get it. Because nowadays, I don't know. Some people. What are your thoughts on fighting?
I could take fighting or leave fighting. Like McLeod got hurt fighting a couple days ago. Like, do I want McLeod out of the lineup because he felt the need to fight someone? No. But there are times where I think it's necessary. There was a fight. I can't remember the exact 2 teams that were playing. It was the Colorado Avalanche and someone. And they had just an outstanding fight where they drop the mitts, circle each other, and then go at it and just have a good old-fashioned tussle. But now today, where like everyone's 10 times stronger and everyone's 10 times faster, it's a little bit harder to like think about. And who are fighters now? Like McLeod was an 11th overall pick or 12th, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You guys, the skilled guys are the ones fighting now. There's no Paul Bissonnette anymore. There's no John Scott. Ryan Reeves, he's probably the closest, but at the same time, Revo can score 10 to 15 goals a season. Like, there's purpose to him on the team other than fighting. Same thing with someone like Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson's considered a dirty player. Tom Wilson's an outstanding hockey player. I don't care what anyone says. People could come at me for that. Tom Wilson is amazing. There's a reason he plays with one of Backstrom or Ovechkin, or one of Backstrom or Kuznetsov, rather, on the Capitals' top 2 lines. Like, he does play with Ovechkin. He's sending him passes on even strength there on the power play, but he could fight too. But if you don't bring anything other than fighting, there's really no place for these guys anymore. So it just makes you wonder, like, why at this point?
Campbell on the Facebook Live says half of the fights seem unwarranted to me. Good legal hit, fight, ? I'm going to answer that. Everything in the game is in context. One of the things I hate about, back in the day about fighting was staged fighting. It's like, come on, dude. Like, I want to see a good game. You never want to take the emotion out of the game because that's what makes the game special. If you remember, and I always reference this, in 2004, when Iginla and LeCavalier Stanley Cup Finals, when they fought each other. That was raw, real emotion. that's fine. That's within the context of the game. Where it gets hazy is when, okay, okay, this guy scored, uh, maybe did a little, hot dog in it a little bit, whatever, and then you take, you take your biggest goon of the, on your team, and you cheap shot him for doing that. That it's like, come on, does that really need to happen? But the other thing too that you know, the head, the brain. Now that we know more about concussions, the brain, guys are bigger, faster. The game has changed. The equipment has changed. But the brain has not evolved since the last 10,000 years in human evolution. You got to protect the head. And, with all these concussion issues, Mike Peluso, former Devil, has suffered. It's been well documented. Matter of fact, I think he even sued the team for what happened in the mid 90s. The boogeyman, Derek Borgard, he passed away, with, and then you talk about Bob Probert as well, all related to what is that? I forgot, the CTE, I believe, and there comes with suicide. That's where I draw the line. And a lot of fans would draw the line. Okay, as much as we love fighting, we don't want to see that happen after you leave the game. I mean, there are lawsuits, there are legal ramifications, but there's families involved. It's your health, and that's the part that I don't like about fighting. That end result.
Yeah.
So within context, okay, but and at the same time, bare knuckle fighting has been banned, I believe. You can't really bare knuckle fight. I mean, I don't know how UFC does it. Do they wear something, with their hands? So, but that's what hockey is. It's bare knuckle fighting. If you're fighting, there's no, you don't fight with your gloves on. You bare knuckle. So anyway, I didn't mean to have a pregame show talking about fighting, but we can have a whole new podcast about that in the off season. About fighting.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I believe the UFC, they do have like those padded like gloves that they wear.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in hockey. So you're right, it's dangerous. And like you said, that one between Iginla and Vinnie LeCavalier in the 2004
awesome.
Stanley Cup final, that was awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? But neither of those guys fought very often. They were the two of the three best players in the entire hockey game. So, them two in St. Louis, oddly enough. But, what else is there to talk about when the Devils beat the Habs 7-1 and we can't really be that happy about it because it's the Habs and then they're playing the Blues? I mean, we're going to talk about some fighting.
I'll tell you what I'm really happy about. They did not raise my season ticket prices. My seat. It's the same.
Come watch us beat the Canadians 7-1 next season for the cheap, low rate of $1 million.
Oh boy, if they raise the ticket prices, I don't know about other seats, but if they raise my ticket prices, I could have a whole podcast, bitching about the team, right?
Yeah, that's tough.
I can't believe I lost my voice, Vinny, because I got Devils After Dark afterwards.
Yeah, but on Devils After Dark, it'll be cool to have that like sweet little boogeyman voice, like, ooh, the Devils beat the Blues.
Well, I could do the NPR stuff, the Devils therapy, after the Devils After Dark therapy.
So I'm guessing you are wondering why I gathered you here today.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that music. I can't find it. Oh no, I got it. I got the soothing jazz. Hopefully, it won't be like this after the game, Vinny.
Yeah,
but
we want upbeat, happy music after the game.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. Oh, hold on. This is Devils After Dark. Sam Wu and Scotty at Sirius XM, Liquid Metal. Has your team has your favorite team been destroyed or has destroyed your life? Come watch us live on Devils After Dark. I'm just kidding around.
That's gold.
I just have
Absolute
that voice right
gold.
now.
I love it.
All right. So, yeah, we didn't talk much about the game, but I don't want to get too excited. I think that you and I are kind of like, all right, we'll reserve comment about this team called the New Jersey Devils that, okay, have won only, twice in the last 15 games?
Yep. We'll just be a little bit reserved. Enjoy it when it happens. Evaluate the players that matter in terms of their importance for the future. We'll see how they handle guys like VC and Subban at the trade deadline. Go from there.
Well, let's give props to a couple before we get into predictions. Boquist, he's trying to make this team. He's trying to stay. He's making the most of his opportunities, and I hope he continues to do that because, I kind of wrote him off a while ago. But like Sharon Govich, suddenly, like last year when Sharon Govich arrived on the scene, you're like, oh, okay, maybe he's a one-hit wonder for a couple games. But I like to see Boquist, he seems like he's gaining confidence, and he's an AHL player that doesn't seem to be overwhelmed. So let's see what he can do. The next 40 games, it's going to be a telling sign. Also, Utica Comets, those black jerseys are sick. New Jersey Devils, are you listening? Are you watching what they're doing? Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Those black Utica Comets jerseys, I want one now. They look sick.
Yeah, they're really cool. I mean, when you got them pulled up right now to look at them again, they are just gorgeous. That is exactly kind of what I would want in a Devils jersey. And I'm not like a full-blown hater of their current third jersey. I mean, I don't.
The only thing I don't like is that word jersey in front. If they just put a Devils logo with the rest of the jersey, I'm fine with. The history, it looks awesome, except for that one part.
Yeah,
that's where they just shot themselves in the foot.
Yep. Any sports jersey that is black on black, I think are always cool. Like, I think the Kings jerseys are awesome. I like when the White Sox do their black jerseys, the Raiders, lots of teams using the all blacks. I think it's cool. So,
yeah.
They could definitely do it again. They could get a mulligan. Nobody's going to hate it if they do it again. They've definitely seen the backlash, but they also started making fun of themselves too. Like, they have the hat. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and kudos to the Devils. I've been particularly critical. At least they're raising money for charity on that, by making fun of themselves. But Vinny, I just hate that jersey. I'll just say it. I just don't. I just can't look at it. But I'm just wondering how many casual fans would actually buy that jersey. And I'm talking about, like, were they trying to sell that jersey out in Nevada somewhere just because it says Jersey? It's just weird. Like, why wouldn't you just put the logo on? But I'm not a marketing guy, so how would I know? All right, so predictions, Vinny. What are your predictions? What is your predictions?
Coming off a good game, the Blues are a better team. They're deeper. They play harder. I'll try and be a little realistic here. And last time I predicted the Devils to lose, they won. So we'll go for it again. I'll give the Blues a 4-3 edge in overtime.
Okay. This is my prediction. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Blues are going to pull out 5-3. I'm just being realistic here. But you never know. But at the same time,
I love being wrong.
Hey, you know what? Let me tell you something, Vinny. We love being wrong with these things, but I'm taking it shift by shift now. I'm not going to make projections. I refuse to. I think this team is just too volatile and too inconsistent to make predictions. But what I can say is I would like to see each shift get better and the team matures and take it from there. Forget about the playoffs. Let's just take it one shift at a time. Start this game strong and play the NFZ and play physical and play discipline. So, but
that's exactly where I'm at as well.
Want to thank all those tuning in on Game Day Live. I'll be back with Scotty at SiriusXM Liquid Metal after the game for Devils After Dark. Enjoy the game, everybody. Until next time, thank you, Vinnie. This is Game Day Live. Let's go, Devils.